You could heat a small room with a single candle for half a day, and the reason you don't believe that is because you were taught the wrong mental model of heat. Listen carefully, because once you see it, you'll never look at fire, insulation, or your own body the same way again. Picture this. The power is out, it's winter. The grid is down and the temperature outside is dropping fast. You light a candle mostly for comfort, not warmth. You hold your hand over it and think, there's no way this does anything. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Heat is not about flames. It's about energy balance. A candle doesn't feel impressive because we judge heat emotionally, not thermodynamically. One small flame looks weak, so we assume it's useless. That assumption is wrong. A typical candle releases about 80 watts of heat. That doesn't sound like much until you realize your body at rest produces around 100 watts just by existing. You are already a walking space heater. The difference is that your body traps its heat efficiently, while most rooms hemorrhage heat through walls, ceilings, windows, and air leaks like a punctured lung. The candle isn't too weak. The room is too leaky. Here's the physics trick that changes everything. If the rate of heat input equals the rate of heat loss, temperature stays stable. Increase input or reduce loss, and temperature rises. In survival situations, reducing heat loss is always easier than generating heat. That candle isn't meant to fight winter directly. It's meant to exploit insulation, volume, and time. Think about volume first. Heating an entire living room is a losing battle, but heating the air around you? That's different. A small enclosed space, like a bathroom, closet, or tent, requires dramatically less energy to warm. This is why people survive blizzards inside snow caves with nothing but body heat. Snow insulates. Air volume is limited. The math quietly works in their favor while the storm screams outside. Now imagine placing that candle inside a smaller insulated space instead of an open room, not touching anything flammable, obviously. Over hours, that steady 80 watts accumulates. Heat doesn't vanish, it migrates slowly through materials, and if those materials resist heat flow, temperature rises. That's why ovens don't need bonfires inside them. They need insulation. This is where thermal mass enters the story. Materials like brick, ceramic, stone, even water, absorb heat slowly and release it slowly. If you put a clay pot over a candle, the pot warms up and becomes a secondary radiator. You're not creating extra energy, you're smoothing it over time. The candle feeds the pot feeds the room. It's not magic, it's delayed release. The same principle is used in ancient Roman hycahostes, modern masonry heaters, and, yes, improvised survival setups in blackouts. But let's get uncomfortable for a second, because here's the dark truth. People don't freeze because the environment is cold. They freeze because their heat production loses the race against heat loss. That's it. That's the entire equation. And once you understand that, survival becomes a game of cheating the equation. One of the most powerful cheats is layering air. Air is a terrible conductor of heat, which makes it a fantastic insulator when trapped. This is why winter clothing is puffy, why double-pane windows exist, and why tents work at all. If you build layers around yourself, even thin ones, you reduce the speed at which heat escapes. Suddenly that candle's output matters. Suddenly your body heat matters more. Suddenly 12 hours becomes believable. Another overlooked factor is humidity. Dry air feels colder because evaporation steals heat from your skin. A candle slightly increases humidity as it burns hydrocarbons, producing water vapor. It's subtle, but in a sealed space it reduces evaporative heat loss from your body. The room doesn't just get warmer, it feels warmer. That difference can be life-saving. Now let's talk about oxygen and safety, because this is where bad advice kills people. A candle consumes oxygen and produces carbon dioxide, but not carbon monoxide if it's burning cleanly. The danger comes from enclosed, unventilated spaces over long periods. The solution isn't fear, it's airflow control. A cracked door, a small vent, enough exchange to stay safe without dumping all your heat. Submarines, bunkers, and Arctic shelters do this constantly. Controlled leakage beats wide open exposure. Here's something survival manuals rarely emphasize. Your perception of warmth lags behind actual thermal change. It can take hours for a space to stabilize. People give up too early. They light a candle, wait 10 minutes, feel nothing, and dismiss it. But heat accumulation is a long game. That candle isn't a blast furnace. It's a drip feed into a sealed system. 12 hours later, the difference is undeniable. Your body joins this system whether you realize it or not. Curling up reduces surface area. Sitting instead of standing reduces convective loss. Sleeping closer to the ground can be warmer if insulated properly. Because warm air stratifies upward. Every small behavioral change shifts the balance. Survival isn't about heroic acts, it's about dozens of tiny optimizations quietly stacking in your favor. Historically, this knowledge wasn't theoretical. Medieval homes used single hearths to heat entire structures not because they were powerful, but because the buildings were designed to retain heat. Thick walls, small windows, low ceilings. Modern homes prioritize airflow, aesthetics, and cooling. When the grid fails, those design choices turn against you. And here's the part that unsettles people. In a true blackout, a candle is not comfort. It's infrastructure. It's controlled energy. It's predictable output. It's time. Time to survive the night. Time to think. Time to adapt. In field conditions, soldiers and explorers have relied on far less. The difference is they respected physics instead of feelings. The candle doesn't heat the room because it's powerful. It heats the room because the room eventually surrenders. Heat leaks slow, energy accumulates, the math closes. And when it does, that tiny flame becomes the difference between shaking uncontrollably and resting long enough to see morning. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources.